Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the official Nerd Talk channel. My name is Tyler, aka Mind of a Nerd. I'm joined by my co-hosts AJ Reacts to and Alex Thomas, and we are back for another episode of Originals versus Remakes. And today we are talking about Total Recall, in inspiration by the last OVR we did for RoboCop. We were talking about Total Recall. We were like, yeah, they remade Total Recall, and yeah, we like that remake. And AJ was like, come on, let's do it. I was
Let's
like,
do
let's do
it.
it. I was like, all right, why not? OVR is the OVR. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Starting with the original 1990 Total Recall. So, the original Total Recall was, as we stated in the last one, directed by Peter Verhoeven, stars Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Verhoeven.
who's like,
Paul Verhoeven. You said his name.
Oh, my bad, Paul Verhoeven, Paul whatever,
You think
and
of Peter
it
what?
tells the story of a man who's living in this like he's having these like crazy dreams, and he kind of just wants to get away from it all. And there's this program called Recall where you can get another person's memories to kind of just relax your mind, and everything kind of just starts to go haywire, and he doesn't know what's going on, and he's kind of on the run for most of the movie, discovering all these crazy things. So I saw this movie for the first time 2022, I believe. This was one that I had always wanted to watch. I did see the remake before this movie, but the remake was basically a first time watch when I watched it again. So this movie, I remember watching it, and I actually think I watched it with Alex. I don't remember, and I was like, it's fine. I like it. There's some things that I really like about it, but then there's other things that I kind of just not really big on. Um, and rewatching it, I didn't really feel any differently. You know, there are things that I like about it. The way it's shot, it's very well directed. Paul Verhoeven does a great job here again. The violence, practical effects are great across the board. The music is pretty good also, and the action sequences when they go down are very good. Uh, Arnold Schwarzenegger is hit or miss. I think everyone can acknowledge that Arnold Schwarzenegger is not that great of an actor. It depends on the role. You know, I love him in Terminator. You know, in pretty much every Terminator movie. I think Terminator 3 is the one where I'm like, hmm. I still haven't seen True Lies yet. I need to get on that. But
You do?
this movie, some of his lines work. Other lines, I'm just like, yikes. Um, Sharon Stone is pretty good in the movie. She's not utilized very well, but she is pretty good in the movie. Unfortunately, though, I feel like the movie is way too long, and I feel like the story is just insanely ridiculous. And I think I've kind of come to the realization with Total Recall between both movies. I kind of hate the story of Total Recall. I'm gonna be honest. You look at the story on paper, you're like, this could be kind of cool. But the way I've seen it play in both movies, I'm like, this is kind of stupid. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I don't know what way you would rewrite it to make it work, but I don't know. It's a story that's never fully worked for me at all. Um, but the movie itself is fine. You know, I understand why it's iconic, but it's not really one for me. AJ, what are your thoughts on the original?
I checked out the original back in 2021 for the first time, and I I felt very similar. I felt like there were aspects to it that were really cool, and then there were aspects to it that were just like it didn't click with me. So rewatching it for this OVR, it really solidified my thoughts. I felt almost the exact same, but I kind of like honed in on certain things. So, like you said, the story for this movie is a mess. Like I can't connect to it. I can't seem to understand everything that is happening while it's happening. I feel like I get it after a while, and then by that time there's more things happening that I don't understand. So like I can never fully catch up to the movie all the way up into the ending for me personally. And I hate when movies do that. Like I feel dumb watching a movie. I hate that. But it's just like I can't fully grasp like what this story is, like what he's doing, where he's from, what like it's just I don't completely get it. So that might just be a personal thing, but that's just me. As far as pretty much everything else, the filmmaking, the action is awesome. The violence is crazy. And very reminiscent of RoboCop. Very reminiscent of with the violence and the action and stuff like that. And every time action is on screen, I'm entertained. Every time something is going down, I'm like, okay, this might be something. But once we get back into the story and things start to slow down a little bit, it's just like and then we have the whole thing with the baby coming out of the man's stomach, and I'm just like, what is this? Like, what's going on? But overall, like, this movie is fine. Like, it's not something that I'm running back to ever, but Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's a icon, action icon. So I give kudos to him. And yeah, like, so overall this movie is fine to me.
Well, I'm probably going to be the one that's going to praise this movie out of both of you guys because I absolutely love this movie, regardless of all the insane craziness. Yes, this movie is not a masterpiece. No, it's not a masterpiece, but it was not made to be a masterpiece. This movie came out in 1990 at yes, you could say almost at the peak of Arnold's career because before he did this, he was doing certain comedies at first. Then he had some action movies too. He actually put in a lot of money to get this movie made because they were not going to make this movie. They just weren't because of the story and how much it was going to be. Arnold had to put a lot in to get this movie made because he really wanted to do it. But obviously, for me, it holds a special place in my heart because I did see this movie first. I didn't see the remake first. I saw this when I was really young, when I was really into Arnold. When I first saw the first Terminator, I wanted to watch everything he was in. So I was trying to find everything he was in, and this was one of those movies. I love the production design. I love Arnold in this movie. This is a movie for him. He was not supposed to be a Shakespearean actor in this movie. He was not. He was playing exactly who he was supposed to be. And AJ, I think the reason why you feel like that is because the movie is presented that way. When you first meet Arnold in this movie, he's confused on who he's supposed to be because he feels like he's not who he's supposed to be because he's not. He's been memory wiped. His memory has been wiped away because of who he was before. And when he finds out who he is, it's all a lie. Like it wasn't that. It was Cohagen playing a game on him to bring him back to Mars so he can get Hauser back. That was the whole trick. It's kind of like a mind twist over a mind twist. Because at first Hauser is telling him, "Oh no, you're the good guy. You have to get to them and all this other stuff." When no, that wasn't it. It was a mind fuck at the end of the day. I know I'm cussing out of nowhere, but um that's the one thing I love about this movie is that it plays with the whole game with what is really happening. Is this really happening? Because when he gets to recall, you know that when he describes the girl, her image shows up on the screen. But he's been dreaming about this girl before she even showed up on this image. So is she real? Is it not real? I love that aspect of the movie. Of course, when we get to the end of the movie, we're probably talking about spoilers because this movie is over 30 years old. When they do everything and do Blue Sky on Mars, the mission is called Blue Sky on Mars. If you caught that in the movie when they explained it at Recall, that's what the memory was called, and that's what he ended up doing. So, and I love at the end of the movie he says, "Damn, I just thought about it. Is this real?" And she says, "Well, let's not think about that at the moment. Let's just enjoy this moment." And then of course, the movie ends. You never know whether or not it's real or it's not. I love just like you guys. I love the violence. I love how graphic this movie is. I love how out of this world, literally, this movie is. Like when he goes to Mars, it's just all hands on deck. It can be anything. Anybody can look like anything. Like you said, there can be aliens, there can be mutants, there can be anything. Like the fact that, um, you know, dang, Quado is out of another guy's stomach. I love that because it would make sense that it would be like that because he's on Mars. He's a mutant at the end of the day. But yeah, I love this movie. I absolutely love this movie.
All right, moving on to the 2012 remake, Total Recall. Total Recall 2012 was directed by Len Wiseman, who directed the first two Underworld movies. The first one's okay. The second one, That's my shit. And he directed Live Free or Die Hard too. And this movie kind of tells the similar like the setup is kind of the same, but then it goes in like a whole other direction to where it's kind of just like the world has kind of come to an end and there's like these two sides and they're kind of going to war to save the universe. That's kind of what it's like. So the way I would describe this movie in both a positive and a negative is that it's a dumbed down version of the original, which it's kind of how I felt about the RoboCop remake. Is like it feels like a dumbed down version of RoboCop.
Hmm.
So I seen this movie once when it came out, and I can't I remembered liking it. That's all I remembered. But again, I hadn't seen the original, so for all I was just watching a movie called Total Recall. I didn't know what it was or all that. So I watched this movie again a couple days ago, and I'm honestly kind of conflicted with it because there's things that I like about it, and then there's things that I'm just kind of like, it's fine. That's how I would describe this movie. It's fine. It doesn't anger me. It wouldn't anger me if it was bad because I don't really like the original like that, and it doesn't like wow me. It's kind of just it's fine.
It's there.
Yeah, it yes and no. The positives, I think the movie shot very well. I like the look of it. It's very Blade Runner esque, and I really like that. Very cyberpunk esque. The score to the movie is very good. The action is fun. It's a lot of fun. Especially that first action sequence where he breaks out of recall. I love the way he moves the camera around.
Mhm.
It got a nerd giggle out of me. If you know what a nerd giggle is, I was like, that was cool. There's a car chase in the well, car chase.
Hover car
But
chase.
hover car chase in the second act that I think is a lot of fun. And all the shootouts are a lot of fun. You know, I think the movie moves at a nice pace. Um, the cast is so hit or miss in this movie. For every person that I like in this movie, there's another person that I don't like in this movie. So let's start with that. Colin Farrell, I think, is fine in this movie. He's very vanilla in this movie. There are points where he has charisma, and then there's other points where I'm just like, you're not giving it to me, Mr. Farrell. Come on. Kate Beckinsale, I love in this movie. She's awesome. Such a badass. I love their villain. She was what kept me engaged the whole movie. Jessica Biel, listen, I I don't think she's that great of an actress to begin with. I like her in the Texas Chainsaw movie. You know, I thought she was very bland in this movie, and I thought she had no chemistry with Colin Farrell at all, bro. A pencil and an eraser have more chemistry than these two had in this movie, bro. I was like, dude, what are we doing here? Bryan Cranston, I thought was good. He wasn't in it enough for me, but he was good. You know, and again, the story. I'm watching this movie, and this is what watching this movie is when I came to the realization the whole thing of like, oh yeah, you're gonna go get somebody else's memories to make yourself happy. Who would want to do that, bro? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, oh yeah, I want to relive somebody else's memories to make myself feel better. It's like, okay, I mean, I guess if that's what you want to do with your life instead of just making yourself happy, you know. Um, I don't know. It's again, it's a very fine movie. It didn't offend me. When I watch it again, I don't know. I would have to seriously be in a mood, like But it's fine. It didn't offend me. It didn't wow me. It was kind of just there. AJ, what are your thoughts on the remake?
So I saw this movie in 2022, and I was doing my 24-hour movie marathon, and it was number 10. It was the last movie of the day. And I was just like, I think I was coming off of Atomic Blonde. where that movie I don't really care for, and I was just like,
Booty.
just I got one more movie. Okay, let's do it. Total Recall remake, whatever. Let's just throw it on. I was pleasantly surprised with this movie. I had a great time overall. Now, is the movie perfect? I don't feel that it's perfect. No. Um, but there are so many elements that I thoroughly enjoy about this movie, and I think it is a good movie. Um, as far as the action, no, it's not as violent as RoboCop, or different action movies like that, but it has really fun action sequences. And like Tyler was saying about the part with Recall, um there was a shot where it's like going through the room, kind of like a
Mhm.
drone shot. That was like one take, and it was going through the room as everybody was getting picked off, and that was an awesome sequence to me. And Kate Beckinsale, man, yo, she is so dope in this movie, and it kind of made me want to go back and watch the Underworld movies. Kate Beckinsale is an action star, and there's no other way around it. I loved her character. Now, does the villain have much depth? No, but does she need to? Not really. But everything that she presented on screen was dope. And she's supposed to represent the Sharon Stone character from the original,
Mhm.
and she blows Sharon Stone's character out of the water. Like, Sharon Stone, like, there's a action sequence in the original where her and Arnold fight and stuff, and then she doesn't really show back. Like, she does, but she doesn't really show back up that much throughout the movie after that. Um, Kate Beckinsale is in this movie through and through, and she's on him. She is on him throughout the entire movie. So that was raw to me. And Bryan Cranston, that's my guy from Breaking Bad. That's my guy. Um, he wasn't in this movie that much, but he had a presence, and he was throwing down with Doug. He was throwing down towards the third act. He was hand to hand combat, and I was like, okay, cool. But Jessica Biel is whatever in this movie. Like, I don't hate her. I don't love her, but she's whatever. But overall, this is a fun movie, bro. I have a lot of fun with this, and I will be going back to watch it whenever.
Well, like I was saying earlier, I trust me, I wanted to like this movie when it first got announced. Trust me, I was following this movie when it first got announced. Trust me, I love the original. So of course, I'm thinking, oh, they're gonna remake Total Recall. Let's see exactly how this goes. I seen, obviously, I was reading into it. I seen who was casting. I seen who was directing. I like Live Free or Die Hard. I like that movie more than most people. And I was very excited. I'm like, oh, he really did a good job with Live Free Die Hard. That's the fourth Die Hard movie. So yeah, he did a really good job with it. So maybe he can bring something in Total Recall. Saw the first trailer, and then trust me, the scene that you guys are talking about, it's in the trailer. They marketed
Mhm.
that on Top Ship. So when I saw it, it didn't interest me because I saw it numbers of times in the trailer. Uh, and didn't know that Colin Farrell was going to be the Arnold Schwarzenegger character. I said, that's pretty interesting. Maybe he's going to bring more depth into the role because he's a much better actor than Arnold Schwarzenegger. Watched it, just like you guys said, he felt like he wasn't given enough direction of who this character is supposed to be. He just feel it, and I guess it works because he just feels like he's lost all the time. He just feel like he's just lost. He doesn't know who he is, what he wants to do, blah blah. You notice that he says that throughout the entire movie. He's talking to one of his work buddies. He's just like, why does it feel like we're doing the same thing over and over again? Just feel like he gives that same type of performance throughout the entire movie, even in the action sequences. Which, like I said, I do. The action sequences are cool. Um, I guess this is the one thing that kind of changes from the remake than this one is that, or the remake in the original, is that they don't go to Mars. There's no Mars thing at all in this movie, which took me back as well. I'm like, oh, they don't go to Mars? Like, why not? Why would they take that out? I mean, to me, that's the most interesting part about the original is that we go to another planet like that exists. Like they talk about going to Saturn and going to other planets where life exists. That's what I love about the original, the fact that we only stay on Earth and it's about the communities that are fighting against one another. I thought it was it's to to me, it just sounded like they're trying to be more social than, at the time for, what's going on in the world. Like I said, I'm sorry. I just thought Kate Beckinsale, like I said, she can, if you're talking about delivering action sequences, yeah, she was fire. But I'm talking about as a character, no, I was not feeling her as a character at all. Like when she first popped on screen, her first line delivery, I said, nope, I'm not buying it at all. I just wasn't. I just wasn't buying her as a love interest for Colin Farrell at all. I just nope. I could tell that it was a play. Like she was playing a role. Like that's what it felt like. And it's just certain things that I love the way it looks, but it's too CGI heavy for me at certain points. Great. But it's just I don't know. It just feels like this is a movie that's there, you know, a remake that is, of course, they had to remake it. It only made sense to remake this movie. They did RoboCop, so you might as well do Total Recall. Um, and like I said, the movie is fine. The movie is just fine.
Going back to the CGI, there are parts that look really good in this movie, and then there are parts where I said, "Woof, that looks bad." There's a couple part like it's one of the best parts of the movie where they take the gravity out of the car and they fall. I really like that part, but it's when they land the car. It looked so bad. I was like, "What the hell happened? What?" It, oh man, I don't know what was happening, but most of the CGI I think looks good. I feel like it's a little too much for this movie's
It's a
good.
lot of CGI in this movie. It is, and I thought it looked great. I thought the CGI looked great. But if you are somebody who gets, kind of annoyed with, CGI, so much CGI, I get it. But there was a lot of CGI that I thought looked really good, and I was like, "Yo, this shouldn't look this good." But that's just me. And the whole thing with the car, I disagree. I thought it looked dope. So it kind of looked practical in my opinion, but
Moving on to the similarities between the two, and right off the bat, the setup for the movie is pretty much the same between both. Where this you got this guy who's he's having this recurring dream of something horrible happening, and he goes to recall to get these memories taken away from him or added
Well,
to his
yeah, that's what
brain
I'm saying. He
to
wants to. The whole thing of recall is that you're getting memories to go like on a trip or something like that. That's what he wants to do. Like he wants to get away from his life because he feels like he's doing the same thing over and over again. And he wants to
mm,
get these memories because he wants to experience something. He wants to experience something. So of course they mentioned the secret agent thing. He's like, oh, I would love to experience that. Be a
yeah.
secret agent.
The whole thing with his girlfriend turning on him and trying to kill him, that is the same in both
Mm-hmm.
movies.
mm,
And then he meets up with the person that he was in love with in the other life. That
Mm-hmm.
happens in
Mm-hmm.
both movies. The characters in both movies are similar pretty much, with
Mm-hmm.
there's one new character in the remake, but pretty much like he has his best friend, and then the two female characters, they're both the same in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
and he's basically
um
on the run the entire movie.
yeah,
That's
Yeah, that's
the
yeah,
same.
that's mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty much everything for
Hmm.
the similarities. So
Mm-hmm.
moving on
Yep.
to the differences between the two. The biggest difference between the two is that the stories are drastically different. So like Alex said, in the original, the whole thing is like, oh yeah, we got to get to Mars. We got to go to Mars and all these different planets. In the remake, there's no Mars, no Saturn, none of
Mm-hmm.
that. It all takes place on Earth. And it, the way I feel about that is kind of the same way. It goes back to what I was talking about with the RoboCop remake. It's like I, I don't think the change was necessary, but if you were going to remake Total Recall and make it different enough to stand on its own, I think that made sense to make that
Yep.
change.
Yep.
Um, the other difference is the way the world looks in
Mm-hmm.
the
Hmm.
remake. The remake is very cyberpunk robot heavy. Like there's no
Mm-hmm.
human. And I actually think that's a downfall on the movie, believe it or not,
Mm.
because throughout the action sequences, they're just shooting at robots, and there's like bling bling bling, and it's just like I don't care, they're robots.
Yeah.
In the original,
There's people
everyone's getting
involved.
shot up
You see people
and
I
literally getting
mean,
yeah,
yeah.
obliterated. You can see people
yeah,
get obliterated.
and
Goodness gracious!
that
Yo,
kind of
the scene where they go to the club and yo, they just
I
slaughtering
love that scene.
everybody. It's
I
like
love that scene.
it's hilarious.
I love that scene.
The little
You know,
the little mini girl on the counter shooting the machine gun. Oh my god, it's hilarious. Hilarious.
but the thing with the violence is that like if there were like human people in
It,
this
I mean,
movie a little
there
bit,
were human people in the movie though. They were in suits.
barely.
They were
But
in
nine
suits.
okay, but 9 out of 10 times in the action sequences, it ultimately comes down to they're shooting at robots. And
I mean, I
after a
guess it's
while
like
that
half
gets
and
boring.
half. It's like
After a
half and
while,
half.
no. After a while, it kind of got boring. I was like, all right, bro, like, can we throw some actual living things in here to
I
make it
mean,
feel
they had the whole
urgent?
scene with the zero gravity where they were shooting at people, and it was real
Yeah,
people.
that
Yeah,
that
that
was
was
that
dope.
was cool. But again, I just think that changed. Like they could have dialed back on the robot stuff. Like I get it, it's the future and all that, but
It's future and it's a PG-13 movie, so
Yeah,
you know
there
yeah.
were humans. There were humans in the RoboCop remake that was PG-13, and
that's true. But we
they had
talked
nothing
about
to do
that
with
and
that.
how it's still not as violent. We see them kind of get blown away, but we don't see no blood or anything. So it's similar in
Um,
that way.
the ending to this movie is also different. So
True.
in the original, they get to Mars, and it kind of looks like the dream is gonna happen, where it's like his eyeballs are
Yeah.
about to explode.
Yo,
That
that
shit looks
practical.
insane, dude.
Ah!
That practical.
Oh my god, dude.
And then they stop it, and they're kind of just like, oh, what now? In the remake, they kind of just beat the villain, and they're kind of just like, all right, let's
It's
move
the end.
on.
Yep.
Well, there is that scene where he wakes up and he's like,
Oh
"Where's your
yeah, it's
scar?"
Yeah.
oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I
But
was kind of like,
that's a fake out. That's a fake out ending. That's
it
what
was
it's
a
called.
fake out. It
A fake
was,
out
but
ending.
it
Because it
kind of
was
got
Kate
me a little
Beckinsale
bit.
with the little face thing, the thing
Hmm.
on.
That kind of got me a little bit. Oh, speaking of that, another difference, when he's like going through security or whatever. In the original, he's like dressed up as the lady, which is
I
kind of
love that though.
hilarious.
It's
I
That's
hilarious.
kind of
love that
hilarious.
dude. Oh my
And
god.
then
He
in
just
the
started going
remake,
crazy.
they had
Two
the lady
weeks.
go through, and
Two
he
weeks.
was asking her like, how long are you gonna be going,
Two
and she
weeks.
said 2 weeks. And I was like, wait, are they gonna do that in the remake too? Like have him be inside the woman and then like the head come off and
That shit
stuff
looks
like
fucking
that, but
insane.
they didn't do it. But they did pay
Two
homage to
weeks.
it, which I thought was
Two
funny.
weeks.
Two
Oh,
week.
oh my god. That scene is insane, dude.
And then the head starts coming out.
Oh my god, dude.
That scene is hilarious.
I think that's pretty much it for oh well. I guess the biggest major difference is that this movie, the remake, is rated PG-13,
Right.
and the
Right.
original is rated R.
Same with the
Hmm.
RoboCop remake.
Yep. There's a lot of
It,
remakes
I
around this time with that.
I feel like it kind of bothered me more here than it did in RoboCop, because in RoboCop, you still got the human action and all that. Here, I was just, I don't know, a lot of the action just kind of got boring after a while. But
Mm.
yeah. Note to Hollywood: stop doing PG-13 remakes of rated R movies. It doesn't make any
Hmm.
sense.
Trying to get
Stop it.
more people in the theaters. That's the thing. They
I
trying to
feel
get
like they
more
slowed
butts
down
in the
on that a
seats.
little bit lately.
They did, and I
Hmm.
keep it that way because yikes.
Hmm.
What's next? A PG-13 remake of Terminator? Please don't.
Yeah. Oh my god, don't do it. Don't do it.
Please
Wasn't
don't.
Genesis PG-13?
No.
I feel like it was. Yeah,
Yes, it
Genesis
was.
was.
It was
Oh.
PG-13.
I think it was
Oh, but
PG-13.
wasn't Salvation
No,
was PG-13. Oh, well, that was R. Salvation was
I
R.
think that might have been R. I think that might have been R.
Salvation was kind of violent.
Oh god, in front of me, I can't see, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I'll tell you right now. Salvation was PG-13. Yep.
I knew it because they have an unrated version. There has an unrated version on Blu-ray, but I don't know what unrated more it is.
Mhm. All right, moving on to what the definitive version of Total Recall is for us. I'm gonna be brutally honest. I sat and I thought about this for the past couple days. I have no definitive version for Total Recall.
I knew he was gonna say that. Oh,
I am
Oh, you gotta choose, bro.
for
You
the
gotta
you gotta
choose.
listen
choose which
for the
one.
first time on OVR. I am indecisive between the
Ah,
two
Wow.
because I've watched both movies multiple times, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, I don't think I would want to watch either of them ever again.
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
say
be
maybe
totally
yeah,
honest.
this is just not
You
your
know,
franchise. This is
because
not your series.
like I said, I think the story to both of these movies is fucking stupid. So it's not something that I would want to seek out.
Hmm.
If
I
if
get it.
I if I had life or death situations, like which one would you watch? I guess the original. I guess just
Okay.
because of how violent it is, and
Hmm.
I'm sick in the head and I get enjoyment of that. I mean, I don't know. I guess, but if someone asked me, "Oh, do you want to watch any of the Total Recall?" I'd be like, "No." It's just like, no, bro. Let's watch RoboCop. Let's watch Terminator, Predator. I'm not watching Total. No, but I really have no preference for either of these movies. That's just my 2 cents. AJ, what is your definitive version?
I think it's well known what my definitive version is, but I will
The
say
remake.
before I get into that, the original has some aspects that I really like, and like we were saying, there's some scenes that are really funny to me, and I enjoy with the original. But I just have a lot more fun with the remake. I'm gonna say the remake is my definitive version of this story.
Alex.
I mean, you guys already know. I mean, the original is my definitive version. It brings like it's so many elements in this movie that are hilarious. Like I said, it's violent. I think Arnold was made to be in this movie. I don't think anyone else could have made this movie work besides Arnold with the over the topness, the 90ness, like with the practical effects and just the way the writing is. I don't think anyone else could have delivered the lines like he could. I mean, like when he tells Sharon Stone, consider that a divorce. No one else could have delivered that line the way Arnold would have delivered that line. Just everything about this movie. I just think it is the definitive version, man. It just is.
Fair
Well, that
enough.
is going to do it for this episode of Originals versus Remakes. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell for all notifications for future Nerd Talk videos and live streams. Also, follow our Instagram. The link is down below. The next episode of OVR will be for the movie Piranha. It's kind of a summer themed movie, so I figured let's throw that one in there, and I think that one's actually going to be very interesting.
This okay, just full disclosure, this was this man's idea for Piranha, and I'm gonna say it on that stream too, on that recording. This
Listen, I've
Piranha
seen
was his idea.
I've seen both
And
movies.
call
I'm
me
not
out on
mad
that
about
one
that
either.
decision.
Call me out on that one.
I've seen both movies and I'm not mad about
Definitely
that
not.
decision. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
Definitely
I
not.
think
all
that's
right.
gonna be a fun one.
I
No,
still need to
But
watch
definitely
the
uh
not.
remake, but we getting there.
Good luck.
but yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, once again, please leave a like on the video, and we will see you on the next episode of Originals versus Remix, everybody.